What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hollywood Already Did It, your movie podcast for reboots, remakes, sequels, adaptations, and movies that we keep telling over and over and over again. As always, I am your host, Blake Schultz, and with me is Terrence Tatum.
Hello, everyone.
And this week, we are talking about the second Super Mario Brothers movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, which has come out to... What a fascinating rollout that this movie has had. Because before it was even out and people saw it, the discourse was like the scores and the reviews and oh my goodness and da, 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 da. And it was the same thing we saw with the first one, where everyone was sort of in this weird boat of like, why isn't this a deeper, interesting, like, I don't know, and I don't. We'll talk more about it as we go. I don't understand
Yeah.
where this mindset comes from. I really don't. I think, and I love Mario. I have a bunch of Mario. I have a fucking Mario sealed in the box right there behind me from Japan that I imported because I couldn't get it here, and I wanted it. I love these games. I play them all the time,
Yeah.
so I think I can. I think I can be an accurate voice when I say the stories, unless you're in the RPG ones, are irrelevant, and even the stories in the RPG ones aren't that deep beyond bad guy. Go get 7
Go
stars.
get
This time,
stars
and
to
then
turn
beat
power
him
back
again.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the power of friendship is going to overwhelm Smitty or whoever. So I
Yeah.
don't know why we all want like Pixar's Up from these
These games
movies.
are very open. You can interpret them however you want because the story is so bare bones. And so I don't know. Yeah, you can't go into these movies thinking that you're going to get, to your point, an up or an existential crisis film where you're like, oh, I'm thinking about my life. That's just not what you're going to get with these.
But what did you? Yeah, and I do think there's a middle ground because as I say that, I am like I do kind of
I
wish.
Yeah. So
As much as I say that, I am still like I wish some of these character things were deeper. But let's get into it. What did you think about the movie?
it's funny because I saw the reviews and I went in uh actually right before I went in, I was you had just gotten out of it. So you were like, oh, it's not too bad. And so all right, cool. And my expectations went up a little bit. I'm of the boat for the first Super Mario Brothers movie that I was like, oh, this is fun. I do wish that I got a little bit more, but you're giving me the greatest hits. If I'm ever a Mario's fan, I'm getting what I need to get in this movie. Um, but I feel like this movie, at least with that one, and I'll say this, there was a character arc. There was a beginning, middle, and end where I felt like Mario and Luigi grew and were not the same people that they were at the beginning of the movie towards the end of the film, which is what I kind of, if you don't have a super strong story, at least you gave me one character where I care about, and I'm like, all right, cool. They have grown and become a better person. With this film, I want to, well, let me start off and say I think it's gorgeous. Like the animation in this movie is stunning. There's some moments where I'm like, oh, okay. Nintendo and Illumination, they showed out. That's kind of where I think my really good things to say about this film sort of come to an end. I While I don't need you to be super existential and tell me like the greatest story of like about human life, I do need to care about one of the characters in the said film. And I don't think from Rosalina to Peach to Mario Luigi to Yoshi, none of them have a character arc where they have grown or changed or any different from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. And I think when you do sequels, you've kind of moved on from the Mario and Luigi. You kind of like, all right, those guys are who they are. We don't need to kind of rehash the building of them. And it felt like for a minute they were going to give sort of Princess that arc. It doesn't really happen, and it gets muddled because I think they're introducing too many other characters as well, and so they never really give Peach a chance to sort of sit in that moment. This movie does it a lot, and it annoyed me towards the half. The first couple times it happened, I was like, all right, cool, we're just going to do it. But they will take a moment to sort of act like they're about to start telling something heady, or like, hey, we're going to talk about this, we're going to get in our feelings. Nope, crap is
And then
blowing
we're
up, we got to
on.
run.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, we're just gonna move. We're just moving on. And I'm like, well, hold on. Let's sit in that for at least 5 more minutes. Like, give me 5 more minutes because this feels like you're trying to tell me a story about Peach and Rosalina's connection and their loss. But all it does is like, hey, we're gonna show you a cutscene of them when they were kids and take it from there. They're sisters and they missed each other. even though one of them didn't even know the other existed.
And it's weird because I agree. And I think I'm in a really weird place with how I would rank these two movies because I'm with you. The first one does, even though it is just the 90s one again, which I like, but it does have a weird, like, we've disappointed our parents. We're not doing well. We've shown up. Oh, we get to go be something now. We're back and they're proud of us. And now we're going to go back to the Mushroom Kingdom.
Correct.
I thought it was interesting that we did not return to that New York
At
family
all.
at all. Like
They're relatives. Yeah.
this seems to be the biggest note that Illumination took because they didn't take any other notes, but we got rid of them,
Correct. Yeah.
which is funny because it's they kind of did what I wanted the Sonic movie to do, and in the second one be like the humans are gone.
We're done with them. Same way we've
um,
always said Transformers, stop going back to Earth.
yeah,
Let's be on Cybertron. Yeah.
which is very funny because in comparing both of those, I'm now like, okay, I need a little bit of what
You
Sonic's
got to give me
doing
some.
in here.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, I thought the action, animation, and the worlds in this one were just so cool and fun.
Yeah.
And I think I never was bored. But I was also, to your point, every almost emotional beat, whether it's with Bowser and his kid or with Bowser and Mario or with Peach and
Mm.
Rosalina, because I think the best arc is probably Bowser's, where he starts being like, I'm reformed and
I
I've changed and I'm in
kind of
therapy
dig
and I can
these.
do this.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he is like, never mind.
They're
This
right.
is who I am and I don't care. And I like that arc and I like the moment where he like says to Bowser Jr., I'm not going to let them ruin this. I wish it was a little, I don't, it's weird because I'm like, I don't really know
How to tweak
what
it.
I
Yeah.
want.
I
Like,
think it's
because
weird because because they're not the heroes. It's harder to give them the arc unless you're spending more time with them. And
but it,
because you can't fully like they spend the whole scene of him doing the puppet show for his kid. You're like, oh, we're getting connection here.
yeah,
And I'm
that
like,
stuff
oh,
is great. And those are the
that is
moments where I'm like,
great.
this is awesome.
Right. But because we never they're not the heroes, we don't go back to that at all, or it kind of just like gets dropped and like, cool. I'm just going to quickly turn about face and go back to being the bad guy because we only got an hour and a half to get through this movie.
And I think on top of that, what's frustrating is the way they're doing Bowser and Bowser Jr. mirrors Rosalina and Peach really well. That we both see
Hmm.
them tell stories. We see them both be like, oh, we're separated. Oh, we don't know how to reconnect. We don't know how to talk. But like Peach and Rosalina get almost no time together because
None.
they kind of do to Rosalina what they do to Peach in the 80s, which is just be like,
Yeah, just like
Castle, go get her.
castle, lock her away.
Um,
Yeah, I was like, why is Brie Larson voicing this when she's in the movie for 7 minutes,
when
basically?
she's been begging to be Samus, and they were like,
Yeah.
"Best we can do is Rosalina." I know you're thinking she doesn't talk loud in the game, that she's the MacGuffin. Guess what? We're going to be very, very, very accurate. That part of this, 100% true.
100%.
um, but it is funny because it has like vignettes and sketches. I really enjoy it. Going from like this
Yes.
opening where she's with all the Lumas, and then this giant robot shows up, and she gets to be this like crazy great magic and flying action beats, to oh, Peach decides to go, and we're gonna now watch them go through like the game, this red dot to this
World
red
to
dot,
world.
and they're gonna
Yeah.
fight the Hammer Brothers and the Cheap
Yeah.
Cheap, and Yoshi's there,
Which is cool by
and I love all
itself.
of that. Yeah.
Correct.
Um,
I was sitting
and
there the whole time when it was over. I was like, I just felt like I watched a kid's version of In Living Color, Mario style, and they're like, we're trying to piece all like we're the story thread is going to put all these skits together, even though they may not technically all go together.
it's weird because I'm like, that is sort of what a Mario game is. It's very Mario 64, jump in this painting, jump out, jump into this painting, jump out, hub world, planet, hub world, planet.
Hmm.
So I think they do a good job of that. And it does start to be very like the first one. It bothered me less in this one. I think the first one had way too many, look at that sticker and look at that sticker and look
Cuts,
at this in the
colors.
background and this
Yeah.
character. And this one had less of it. And so the ones that did have more impact were fun. Like I loved seeing Rob, fun joke with Rob at the front desk.
Yes.
You can put Pikmin in anything, and
Anything, and I kind of
I'll
I'll
be
just
very
smile.
happy.
Yeah.
Um, Fox McCloud, we can
I'm a
talk about
Star
that
Fox
for a
nut,
while.
so like even though I
Steals the movie.
even though my brain is like Star Fox doesn't belong in this, but I'm like I will take Fox McCloud because he's been so put to the side as a character and as a game that I'm like, nope, give me all the Star Fox. And I love that they kind of tweaked the animation style a little bit when he was on, and it's like this is what I was going through. I was like, that's cool.
I want that 80s GI Joe 2D as
Yeah,
his movie. That's what I
yeah,
want. I don't want a 3D. I want that what they showed me.
yeah.
And what's funny because I also when that first like fan of the trailer was like, "Is this Fox's gun?" And then they announced him, and we all got ahead of it. I immediately was like, "This is going to be an Iron Man 2. We're going to set up all these pieces for
Where
whatever we're
he's
doing."
not
I'm
in, yeah, he's
sure
not in the movie that much. Like, oh
I'm sure
no,
we're building to Super Smash Brothers, and this is
I'm
going to be their
sure.
way.
Even though they're like, no, that's
Um,
not happening. I'm like, okay.
it would be we'll talk about the Super Smash Brothers movie in a minute because I think it's a situation where we really, really need to mitigate. Sonic's not going to be in it. Pokemon probably aren't going to
Correct,
be
because
in
there's a
it.
lot of characters
Zelda's
like, yeah,
Zelda's with
your
Sony.
Mega
Uh,
Man's probably Capcom's like, nah.
yeah. Now I do think what's smart because Star Fox as a brand, he was good the last time. The Bulls were good in like 1996,
Correct.
and I like Star Fox Adventure. I know no one else does.
No one else
I
did.
like Star Fox Assault. I know no one else does.
Correct. Like Star Fox is a character and a game franchise that has kind of been on the shelf for decades.
So by all means, throw him into the Mario movie to get us
Correct.
excited for a Star
Yeah.
Fox movie. Um, and I think what it does well, to your point of it being like he shouldn't fit. It's oddly what Smash Brothers does do well, where you're like, oh, this all works, even
Hmm.
though it by all means shouldn't.
Yeah.
And they've also, because it's the Mario Galaxy movie, I was sort of okay with it being like, oh, my hyperdrive broke. I landed here.
Same.
And
The
we now have
the
this
the
gateway
way
galaxy
we
to do
got
anything.
there with him was the one thing in the movie that I'm like, no, that part actually makes sense. Like I can see how he would be a part of this because of the flying and being in the galaxy. Like, nope, that tracks.
And it's funny because I think Fox shows everything that movie does well and poorly at the same time because it's super exciting when he's there. The music is awesome. The action is great. The character is witty and fun. But then moments that should be tense aren't because immediately he sees Mario and you're like, ooh, we're going to have like
Like, oh, they're
a
gonna have
little
a
rivalry.
a dick pissing contest, and then they kind of
And
just like he's cool.
immediately it's like,
Yeah,
nice
he's
ride, nice
cool.
stash. I love this
Yeah,
guy. And I'm like,
yeah, and I'm
okay,
like, oh,
I'm not
we could have done some work. I'm okay with him being broing out, but could we have gotten a little work to get to that point?
wait a minute. And yeah. And I think that is the shame uh, where like every moment I had fun. Like even when half of this movie is just Star Wars. He's like this Han Solo
Yeah,
rogue type. We need a
yeah,
pilot. We do the Mos Eisley Cantina when she follows Yukiki. Wart, who I loved also, is basically Jabba the Hutt.
yeah,
And that whole sequence is great because that is very Mario Galaxy. The gravity's doing all these different
and then
places, and the
yeah,
animation is fun, and the music, and the
correct.
small jokes of like this Koopa won big at the lottery. But it's another moment where I'm like, oh, are we done with Wart now
Now that
for
we've
forever? And like,
burned through that game, like, right, is that done now?
and another character where if you really put my feet to the fire and they're like, how do you adapt this? I'm like, I don't know. He was a dream character. Super Mario Brothers 2 was fake. Like it doesn't, it's irrelevant.
That's
So
it's
maybe I should
it's
be happy because who knows who Ward is besides us?
right. I was like, I'm a Mario 2 nut, and so I'm like, yes, but I'm like, this is the bastard child of this franchise. Like, I don't think we really need to spend too much more
This was
time in the Mario
this
2.
this game only exists because they thought Americans couldn't do Super Mario
Right.
Brothers 2 and they reskinned a different game for us and then later made the Lost Levels. Um, and I think that's where I'm both super forgiving of the movie. If they give me a fun roller coaster ride and I walk out and I'm like, yay, I saw all of the people I wanted to see and the
All the
animation is
things,
great
right.
and the music is awesome. And like my biggest complaint with well, not my biggest, one of my major complaints with the first one was like too many like needle drops and not enough like orchestral music. And this
It's
was just an orchestra
Yeah,
of
it's like this
music.
one's the opposite. There are no
I
needle
loved it.
drops, and it's all orchestra music.
There's
Yeah, like
two
there's
small
no
ones, three if you want to count Luigi singing the song, but we get that like half of the Biggie Smalls song for Yoshi's
yes
intro,
for
which I
Yoshi's. Yeah,
loved.
yeah.
Um, and then they do the song, the hey, you get for a minute at Peach's party.
That's right. When the party is happening. Yeah, yeah.
And both
Yeah.
of them though kind of slide into the
Yeah.
orchestral
It's a
stuff.
lot more not sneaky, what's the word I'm looking for? They're a lot more creative with how they put in music and music cues. Like I loved it, but just when Luigi and Mario go down into the cave to go find Yoshi, they do the little just they don't live in it. They're just kind of like, nope, I'm
Yeah,
gonna do it once and I'm out. And I was like, I like that.
no, it is funny because almost every weakness of the movie to me becomes like a strength where I'm like, it's almost too much. It's almost, we're going too many places. It's at a breakneck speed, but I am also like, but I loved the music transitions and I loved how all the different places we got to see.
Yeah.
I do wish we had taken 5 minutes
Just let
to
something
tie
breathe a
it.
bit to tighten this up, to give me a story thread throughout. Because I will say this, and this is where I don't know who the lead of this movie is.
Oh, neither do
Eh,
they.
eh,
Because here's my hot take. So it should be Mario, but you know who no one picks in Mario Party or Mario Tennis or
Ever,
Mario Golf or Mario Kart?
ever.
Mario.
Mario Kart, never pick Mario. Nope, never, not once. So yeah, like he's the lead, and this is the movie, and the name brand is him, but all the other characters far more interesting, but because of time and because he is the lead, you kind of have to space it all out and thus when you serve many, you serve none because I don't feel attached. And that's my biggest problem. Like where in the first one I had Mario and Luigi that I felt attached to. I didn't couldn't attach to anybody, even though Rosalina pretty much opens the movie, but because then we put her on ice for
We really,
55
yeah.
minutes straight, and then I'm like, I can't attach to her. I don't know who to gravitate to. And like, look, I get it. This is one of those ones where the audience is like, we want Yoshi. He may be the most underused person in this entire
I
film.
know, but I do, and it's another moment where I'm like, Yoshi's my favorite character. What did I want? Because I don't want him
Because he's
talking.
nonverbal, right? I was like, because
I
he's
don't,
nonverbal, and I want him to stay the way they got him. You don't really need to give him the like. This is what he's gonna get.
right.
Um, I do wish they're funny beats. I just wish it happened more, or there was a resolution. But like the Toad being like, "Why do we just accept this dude? Like he just came in off the street. Like play with that more because that's funny to me. Like that was a
Yeah.
good bit."
And I liked the callback to it. But even my buddy who I saw it with was like, why does he have this problem? But I was like, I don't know. I think this is just like funny to be funny. Like I think we're just
Yeah, if
doing
there's no
this.
reason to it, correct. It's just a funny bit. Um, Whereas I think I don't need to over explain, but if you kind of gave us a reason or like, hey, this is why I've been kind of crappy to you, all right, cool, we'll write it out. But like nothing sort of allows us to be like, oh, this is why people are doing this way. And so when it was all said and done, I finished the movie. I'm like, that was a kid, my kid, I'm going to take him to see it. I think he will like it more because it's super colorful, it's bright, it's got Mario in it. But I think most adults, and this is why the critics are kind of going the way that they are. Most adults are kind of like, I don't have a, there's nothing that I can connect to or a story that like goes from beginning, middle to end. Whereas at least with the first one there was, and even that they didn't really gravitate to.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting because I really I know that I want less overall references. Like I enjoyed some of it. I liked little baby Luma doing the I'm hooked on the brothers. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
I liked seeing all the different Mario creatures. I think when we inevitably get a third one is when I'm like, okay, it's time to kind of like hit the brakes a little bit and
Hmm.
do something. Because we've threw everything at this. We saw the babies. We
So we
saw
got the baby.
stuff.
Yeah.
We saw stuff
Yeah.
from Mario Odyssey. We saw stuff from Mario
Hmm.
64. We saw stuff from Mario Galaxy. We saw stuff from Mario 3. And I'm like, okay, now you guys kind of have to. And they're in such a unique place. Like when I think about the Dungeons and Dragons movie and they just did whatever they wanted in that
Yeah.
world, I think that is kind of what you can do here.
Hmm.
Granted, Shigeru Miyamoto, I know, has to sign off on everything, which
Everything.
I
Yeah.
I do like that he's involved
He's got the
this much.
quality
I
control
like that
button
he's
on this.
very
Yeah.
much over it. It is funny because I think it's an example of him being like, this is what Mario is. And us kind of being like, but we want something else. And him being like,
Right.
okay, then go.
Okay.
Great.
And I
Star
think it's
Fox
the
is
difference
coming. He'll
between you
have the
have
deeper
like
story.
a
Like,
Mario he's used to making Mario for a platform or for a game, and he's like, "This is what I'm going to do." But when you take it to a different medium, he's like, "Well, I'm still going to just give you Mario, just on this new medium." And we as an audience, for the most part, so we're fine a little bit. But for the most part, the audience is kind of like, "Well, we need a little bit more. Like there needs to be a little bit more." And it's happened. I think what's happening too, it's happened with the Sonic franchise. Like Sonic 3 is gets heady. It gets
Awesome.
a little
Yeah.
deep. Yeah,
It gets,
it's
yeah.
pretty
And
nuts.
that's in the DNA of Sonic,
Yeah,
right? Like that was even at the inception of those characters' creations. And I've said this every time we talk about these two properties on this podcast. Mario was Mickey Mouse, who also is a very like doesn't have that much personality. When he shows up, he's kind of
correct.
just there, and people
Yeah.
prefer Goofy and Pluto and Minnie and Bruno and all these other characters to him. Sonic was like the Bart Simpson response, and
Hmm.
having that, and immediately was like, we're going to put him in comics, and we're going to put him in this, and this is who he is and how he talks. And as
Right.
soon as he has the ability to speak in a game, we're going to do that. And we're going to do these weird anime stories.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's why you gravitate more to him as a character, but the Mario games are better. Um,
Yes.
and I think that is indicative of how two different people approached creating a video game character. And Nintendo's philosophy, whenever they make a game, is we start with an idea and then we're like, oh, we have all these characters. Who fits around this quirky idea? Is it a Metroid?
Hmm.
Is it a Samus? Is it a Metroid or Samus? Is it Mario? Is it Samus? Is it Link? Is it this? And I think Sega always is like, what story are we telling? What
What's
weird
the story?
kaiju is Sonic gonna have to fight, and how
Right.
will friendship save the day?
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and it is interesting seeing that here because I think the other risk you take is giving Mario more of a character arc and everyone being like, that's not,
That's not Mario.
I don't like
Right.
this. But
And like
I,
because we've spent decades where Sonic was allowed to create a character. His personality was always sort of there from comics to cartoons, just sort of got it. Mario's never had one, and the audience probably still prefers that. Because if you change it, they're gonna be like, well, hold on.
yeah,
That's not Mario.
I'm oddly okay with him being this and just kind of being the like boring
Yeah.
hero of it who
Because I
says
mean,
as long as we keep kind of building out everyone else around
everyone
him.
else.
And I think
Because
we'll get like if we get a Luigi's Mansion movie and we can
I was gonna
really do
say
like a
because like
Luigi
we
as
oddly enough have more character information about Luigi in gaming than we do Mario. Because of Luigi's Mansion, you're like, oh, I can see him being a little bit more afraid, like, and they play with that a little bit in the movie.
and even in the Paper Mario games, like Mario still doesn't have dialogue, but Luigi does. And
Correct,
like you get more from them. And I think then when you adapt them, you can lead into some of these things more. Like even when Wario, we know so much about Wario, and we know
correct,
nothing about Waluigi.
right.
Um, he likes tennis, and he's a romantic. Um, but that's another one where I'm like, when he shows up, they can have so much fun playing
Which
with those few things.
I would have to imagine, not if, when a third one comes out, that they have to go Wario because I feel like you can't some of the issues that are happening with the Sonic franchise, and this is why they introduce a new villain, Knuckles, Shadow each time, is that you keep going back to that Bowser well too much, the audience is going to be like, all right, we got this.
It's another funny problem that like you don't think about in the games, but like Mario doesn't really have a deep rogues gallery. You
Correct.
can start kind of getting into the RPG games. You can do Mini the Sword and the Bean Kingdom people, whatever they're called, or you can even just be like King Boo in Luigi's Mansion,
Right.
or somebody pick any of the big King Babam can
Like
show
Baba,
up.
yeah,
I don't know that that carries a whole movie, but like it
correct.
would have to be Wario and Waluigi. And then if you're me, the fourth one is Mario Sunshine and Shadow Mario shows up, and then that's when you bring back your Bowser Jr. and your
Yeah.
Bowser. I do, yeah. It's definitely time. Plus, Bowser's been small. He's been big. Now he's Dry Bowser. We've kind of
Yeah, we've
uh,
we've we've put him through the gamut, and that's part of that is when you burn through so much so fast, that's what happens. But we've done it now, so you're gonna have to switch off.
and we have introduced Birdo and Ward, and there's a lot you can do. And even now that you've introduced Star Fox, there's no reason why you couldn't like borrow a villain from something else. There's no
True.
like they are kind of building it out to just sort of be the Nintendo world, and
Hmm.
we're gonna grab King Dedede or
Right.
Ganondorf or whoever. Um, so I'm not worried that they're gonna run out of content, but I am
No.
worried that they're gonna run out of montages to show me.
Yeah. Yeah, because they burned through them so like when they were doing the castle part and doing the flag, I was like, oh, I love this. Slow down. Like you are going through them quickly.
And I think that's the fun of the Mario worlds and the games is getting to spend time in the underwater level or in the desert level or in the like they did it quick in this where the Goombas are huge and they were
Yeah.
small. And a part of me was like, oh, I want to do this for like half the movie. I want to
Yeah.
be in, you could quite literally just pick one of these places, one
One of
of
these
these
places and like
kingdoms,
give
and
me
dump
20
me in
minutes there of
there.
how they get out of this world, like how
Yeah.
they get out of this. Yeah.
And maybe that's what they're going to do. Like maybe it will just be like, oh, we're going to start here at Peach's Castle. We get a phone call from Yoshi's Island, and we're going to be on the island for 90 minutes. And then the
Hmm.
next movie will be in the desert for 90 minutes. And uh, that would be a fun, simple way. But I do think it's interesting how overly, I get the criticisms because we're also doing them.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how some people are like vitrially like this is the dumbest, like angry, and I'm like I don't think it deserves that. There's much worse animated
I've seen
movies.
way worse things. Yeah. And what did I see the other day? Somebody compared, like, had this compared, like, being montages compared to when Ratchet and Clank movie did that. I was like, guys, that is very different because Ratchet and Clank literally just stole scenes from their
It
game and
was
then put
just
them
the
in their
I
movie.
forgot
Right.
they made that movie. Oh man, yeah. What a weird wow. Yeah. Yeah, it was just
Like,
uplifted cinematics.
correct.
Um
This is not that. There is still a team that went out of their way to draw and make some of the most amazing animation that you could possibly see. It looks, again, one thing that I will say, I will wave the flag. This is a beautiful looking movie. This
it
animation is
incredible.
stunning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is one of those weird ones too, where I'm like, I'm glad I saw this in a theater. I think if I saw it on streaming, I'd be more critical. But
Uh,
kind of sitting there in the
Correct.
dark and being and like seeing the scales of Yoshi up close, and
Yeah.
seeing the all the things I loved, like the action with Bowser Jr. when he first fights Mario and Luigi and Yoshi,
That
and even Yoshi
paintbrush of
running away
his
from the
and
T
is
Rex,
stunning. And watching it, like
awesome.
seeing the purple go up, I was like, oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, every like boss fight moment was so good, and I think that's why I forgive so much of the other stuff because I'm like, oh, I can't be mad that I sat there with a smile on my face for 90 minutes and then left and was like, why don't I feel feelings?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Like it did its job in the moment. It kind of like cotton candy. And that's just the best way that I can say it. Like in the moment, I'm having fun with this. But then when I start thinking about it, it's like, I didn't really connect to anybody. I really feel anybody. But sometimes, especially with kids' films, and this is what I think you have to sort of remember in the DNA of this. This is still a movie for kids. It's like the Despicable Me Minions crowd. Sometimes these things are not for you as an adult. They are to speak to kids and have fun in that 90 minutes. Do you have fun? Is your kid entertained for 90 minutes?
yeah,
Cool. Do you get something out of it? Because there's a difference between, especially as a dad now, I've seen some crap. There's a difference between going to see Mario with your kid and being like, all right, I'm getting dragged to see this. Oh, I'm having a good time. This is fun. And going to see Elio and you're like, why am I here?
yeah, yeah. And it's such a huge brand that I get why people want something grandiose, but
It means
it's
so much
fun.
to so many
Yeah.
people. So I do understand it. It would be if somebody jacked up the turtles, like we had a turtles movie,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I
Cause
would be,
no one's
I would
ever
be
made a
pissed.
bad Turtles movie. So
Ever. That's never happened.
that's never, no, no one's ever made our properties poorly. No one's ever done a bad Power Rangers movie or a bad Star
Nope.
Wars
Haven't
movie.
seen those.
Sonic might be the strongest, actually, of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really wish it won't happen, but I really wish they had continued the Detective Pikachu friend because that was a fun movie.
Yeah, where did those? What? Come on, how did that not?
Yeah.
They announced a sequel, and then COVID happened, and they were just
And
sort
it's
of like,
like,
I don't
never
know.
mind. Yeah. Oh no.
At this point, it would be like a decade from the last one.
It would
But
be. It would be. It's
no, but
going to be interesting to see what happens with Zelda. Because I think that's the next sort of big thing.
and there's a lot more. It's another one though where I'm like, what are the plots of this game? Go fight
Correct.
Ganondorf, and
Go
you can
fight
get like
Ganon.
obviously Wind Waker is deeper and Twilight Princess and all these movies, but at their core, it's very similar. Um, that is going to be a more interesting one because it is going to be live action.
Live action.
It
Yeah.
is for we can't you can't really sit on the laurels of like it's for young children.
Right.
Um, and it's Sony, and I
Which
don't and it
I don't
seems like
trust.
Illumination, for better or worse, is really listening to Nintendo style guide,
Correct.
which at time holds Nintendo itself back when you want them to do other
Hmm.
things, and they're like, "That's not what we do here."
We don't do that.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know how much Sony is doing that. Um,
Same. Same.
we're
It
gonna sit
feel
back here in like half
yeah.
a year and be like, "Man, I wish they just done an Illumination montage Zelda movie." Like, I just want to see all my favorite Zelda
Where are
things,
my
hear the
greatest
music.
hits
What
of
is
Zelda?
this?
Like let's
Oh
do
my
this.
god! Why are we doing this? I do
Yeah.
think it'll be interesting how all these grow out, and I want people to be more patient when it comes to something like Smash Brothers because again, I know that the Subspace Emissary shows up and that there are more stories in that, but Super Smash Brothers 1 and Melee is effectively a person pulling toys out of a toy box and then
Mm,
doing this
just like
with
yeah,
them. That's
yeah.
it. That's what
Sma
Master Hand is.
Rock'em
It's you.
Sock'em, just
Yeah.
Nintendo. Yeah.
And so I am sort of like, well, what are we going to do?
For a film
And I oddly
version
am
of that.
like, that's where I probably wouldn't mind if we were going at this Mario Galaxy speed. And you're just going to be like, Samus is here. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. Now they're on the same
15
team.
minutes in there. It's
Go.
kind of what happened in the last one where they took that moment that they took to go to Donkey Kong's world was what I kind of like, and they spent time there. They never really had that sort of time in this film. It was felt way more breakneck, where I was like, ah, that's what's missing. Like, give me a moment where, like, hey, we're gonna live in this level or live in this different game, whatever we call it, for a beat before we switch off to the other one. This felt like, all right, we got a couple more
Planet,
things that we
planet,
need to get
planet,
through.
planet,
Yeah,
planet. Yeah.
yeah. And a part of that's in the DNA because that's what that's what that game does. But it's just like, hey, when you're doing it in this medium, slow down just a hair.
And I think now you've probably built either you've built trust or you haven't, I suppose. But you've probably now built enough trust where you can be like, great, we've given you the two kind of wacky ones. Now we're going to slow it down. And on the
Hmm.
opposite end, you've built up enough distrust where you can be like, okay, guys, we hear you. We're going to slow it
Right. Yeah.
down. Because it's funny bringing Daisy in at the end. I think is also indicative of people's fanship being kind of for everyone because there wasn't a big response in my theater to it.
Same. Although
Um,
it's weird. The response wasn't huge, but also at that time, a lot of people had already left because they that was the
oh,
very end credit. Um, and they had the Lumily, the star in the middle. But while the credits were going, there were people in the audience. I could hear them saying, like, surprised they didn't bring in Daisy. Like, where's Daisy? And I was like, oh. And I already knew what the credit was. I was like, oh, they're gonna be happy. And they were happy, but it wasn't like, oh, fucking Daisy. It was just like, oh, cool. They gave it to
and I
us.
think there clearly are people who are fans of this movie who are like, yeah, I just want to see everyone. I just want like show
Yeah,
me.
like give me all my people. Yeah. I'm
And
sure there are going to be people like, hey, where are the other colored Yoshis? Like, oh, guys, relax. Let's calm down.
I did have, and I think everyone's had these moments with Mario games of like, it's funny that there are the Toads and then there's one named Toad. And even
Yeah, and
when
then like, yeah,
one of the little Day of the Dead guys was like, all of this trouble over a Yoshi, and I was sort of waiting for them to be like, oh, I thought his name was is he Yoshi or is it a
like,
Yoshi?
is this a species or like what? Are they all just Yoshis?
I did want more with Yoshi, but I did everything they did with him. I loved. I loved him on the motorcycle. I loved his
Yeah,
every attitude. I loved him being Spider-Man with his tongue.
yeah,
Um, all of his sequences were great. It is interesting that he was teased at the end and then he was kind of put
not really a big
not in the
piece of it,
center.
and to get Donald Glover to voice him, and he's non-verbal is just
He I saw an interview
interesting.
with him recently. He asked to do that. That
Got
was
it.
Donald Glover leaving the first one. It was like, I wonder if he'll do Yoshi. I'm going to call my agent. And I,
And
on
just
the
be
red
like,
carpet, he was like, the best compliment I got is somebody after a trailer was like, I'm so glad they didn't get a big celebrity. And I was like, oh, he wants it to just be like, I'm doing Yoshi,
I'm just doing Yoshi.
which is fine
That,
because I
yeah.
also was like, I
Which
don't need him all of a sudden being like, guys, my island is in trouble. This is
yeah, I don't I the way that Yoshi speaks is perfectly fine. I just like it felt like between Brie and him, it's like we spent some money on this
Glenn
cast.
Powell.
Right. I'm like, we spent some money on this. Now, at least Glenn, I could hear and it makes sense and it's kind of tongue in cheek because you're like, you were just Top Gun, so cool. I like this. Um, but
And
yeah,
Brie Larson
the
is a
voice,
huge Nintendo person. Like I'm sure that
yeah.
there was another one where she was like, I don't care what I do, I'm gonna do anything. I don't care. Like
But then it's so
it's
weird because you give Benny Safdie, who's not typically an actor, like you're going to be baby, you're going to be Bowser Jr. Like, wait, he's carrying the majority of this film. Oh, sure, okay.
great. He's great. And I think that is the funny part. For all of my like, it would have been cool if there was a deeper moment here. I just like everyone was great though. It's fine.
Yeah,
Everyone was fine. And I had a blast. And I want more. I want all of it. And I am now at that point though where I'm like, okay, pull out the Marvel 10-year plan and show me the Star
yeah.
Fox
Tell
and
me where we're
Kirby
going
and
with this. Yeah,
let's do it. Let's get all of them on the board.
yeah.
Yeah, Star Fox bringing in Star Fox that way was fun. But yeah,
Especially
it
as a fan,
obviously
like I was like,
made
oh, I'm happy to. I
awesome.
probably I made the most audible noise in the theater with
I
Star
think
Fox.
that is the most like character for our age. I think that is
Yeah,
the like I don't think many people, and maybe I'm wrong. I can't imagine
no
much
one
younger than
else
us.
knew. No one, obviously, people our age knew, but like all the kids had no reference point to who the hell that. They just think, oh, Star Fox is a Fox person in this movie.
Yep, great. It
Yeah,
works. The
I was
all
like,
of that was awesome. And it made
that's how I
just
know I've aged where I'm at as a person. Because let me just tell you, this is how my day started going into the theater. As I'm walking into the theater, there's a Masters of the Universe standee to my right. And there's three kids, and maybe in their early 20s, late teens. And they're going by, it's like, my mom really loves that show. She's like, she's been talking about He-Man. And they're going in, it's like, yeah, I've never watched it. It's an old cartoon. I was like, Jesus, you guys have just said seven things that have just destroyed my lifeline before I go
that
into this movie.
that cartoon is so old that I know the references from Family Guy and Robot Chicken more than I know that show. And the episodes that reference He-Man are now so old that like kids wouldn't know those references.
Yeah, yeah.
The
And then
referential
they held the
material
door
that I
for me, and I was
know
like,
is now,
you
yeah.
just they held the door for me. I was like, you can go ahead in. I was like, not only did you guys stab me several times, and then you're like,
Well, you
go
know,
in,
you have
old
to get to that
man.
early bird dinner special soon.
Go in, old man. Yeah,
No, but the movie, it's funny too for all of our like the critics. The audience scores at an 89, which is lower than
yeah.
the first one's 95.
Yeah.
So it's clearly
Fans are still
working.
there. Audiences are still there. It did a weird release on like
Had,
Wednesday this time, which was
had to get
odd.
that Easter money,
Like we're coming in hot. Easter's coming,
which it
and they knew
had
this, and
they
they knew that spring break was happening in a lot of
okay
parts of the country. So they're like, we can gain. There's money we're not leaving on the table here.
because I know they do those 5 day releases usually for like holiday long weekends.
Yeah,
I don't know how many people get like Easter Monday, but I guess it is spring break for a lot of
you get
people.
a lot of schools, although mine didn't, but a lot of schools sometimes give Good Friday off. And so they'll have
Mm,
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as opposed to Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But that doesn't really happen here unless you have spring break. It was just sort of an odd
yeah,
run to release that way.
but it seems to have worked. Yeah, it seems to have worked. Everyone's there and having a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see if this
190.
has the legs that the first one did. Like that first one went on to be a billion. I don't think there's another kids film for a while, so that might help it, but we shall see if it continues to keep the legs that first one did. Because that first one was like a behemoth for the summer.
Yeah, and well, the first one was the first one, and by that I mean like we hadn't had a Mario. And technically, we had
Right,
had a Mario movie since the '90s, but we had never done anything quite like that. So I think
right.
there was more. I want to go back. I got to see it again.
Yeah.
Um, of that. Now, granted, yeah, like next week, there's nothing really big. Really, there's nothing big until the Mummy, and I don't think that's gonna
That's
steal
not
too
going to
many things
affect
from it.
this,
Yeah,
especially being rated R. Yeah. Like I
so it
think
might be able to just run the
it
whole
may
month.
have legs because they're the next kids film, if I'm correct, is Toy Story, and that's not till June. So they got legs.
Yeah, we're still doing that. It's,
Remember when the third one was the last one? That was a good time.
I know. No, we don't end things anymore, but we do end this podcast.
Yes.
So you can leave us a review or a comment, and follow us on Hollywood ADI on Twitter or TikTok or wherever. And Terrence runs the Hollywood Already Did It YouTube page with TV show reviews and trailer reactions. And we will see everybody next time.
Later.